What if I told you? There's a woman living in poverty right now. Being abused. Being treated like she's worthless. But she's actually worth $3 billion. And she has no idea. This is the true story of a girl who lost everything in one night. Her family. Her memories. Her entire identity. And the people who found her decided to keep her that way. Comment below, would you want to know the truth? Or stay in the dark? Stay with me. Because what happens next will shock you. And the twist at the end? You'll never see it coming. It happened on a Thursday night. She was 16 years old. Riding in the back of a black car with her parents. They were coming home from a charity gala. Her father had just donated $2 million to a children's hospital. She remembers being tired. Resting her head against the window. Watching the city lights blur past. And then, nothing. Just darkness. When she woke up, she was in a hospital bed. But not the kind of hospital a billionaire's daughter should be in. This was a county hospital. Fluorescent lights. Peeling paint. The smell of bleach and desperation. A doctor stood over her. Tired eyes. Cheap scrubs. You're awake. That's good. Can you tell me your name? She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Not because she couldn't speak. But because she didn't know. She didn't know her name. Didn't know where she was. Didn't know who she was. Music, confusion, fear. It's okay, the doctor said. You were in an accident. Severe head trauma. You've been unconscious for 3 weeks. 3 weeks? Where are my parents? She tried to ask. But the words felt wrong. Like she wasn't sure she had parents. The doctor looked uncomfortable. There was no identification on you. No phone. No wallet. The car, it burned. We've been trying to find your family, but no one's reported you missing. Comment below, how does a billionaire's daughter just disappear? What she didn't know, what no one told her, was that the accident wasn't an accident at all. She spent 2 months in that hospital. Physical therapy. Learning to walk again. Her left leg was badly damaged. She'd need a brace. Maybe forever. But the worst injury? Her memory. Gone. The doctors said it might come back. Or it might not. She had no money. No insurance. The hospital was going to transfer her to a state facility. And then, he showed up. A man in his 50s. Nice suit. Kind eyes. I heard about your situation, he said. No family. No memory. Nowhere to go. She nodded, suspicious but desperate. I run a small business. I have room in my house. And my wife, she's always wanted a daughter. He smiled. It seemed genuine. You can stay with us. Just until you get back on your feet. Or until your memory comes back. What else could she do? She said yes. He drove her to a house on the edge of town. Small. Old. But clean. His wife met them at the door. And the moment she saw her, her eyes went cold. This is her, the wife said, looking her up and down. She's damaged. Now honey, the man said. She's been through a lot. She just needs time. The wife forced a smile. Of course. Welcome, to your new home. But the way she said it didn't sound like a home. It sounded like a prison. Comment below, drop a triangular flag if you see the red flags. At first, it wasn't so bad. The man, she called him Mr. Ray, was kind to her. He got her a wheelchair for bad days. Made sure she had physical therapy. He seemed to genuinely care. But his wife? That was different. The wife had rules. You'll earn your keep, she said the first morning. Mr. Ray might have a soft heart, but I don't run a charity. She was given a list of chores. Cleaning. Cooking. Laundry. Dishes. All day. Every day. Her leg throbbed. The brace cut into her skin. But the wife didn't care. You're lucky we took you in. You'd be on the streets otherwise. Months passed. Then a year. Mr. Ray was gone most of the time. Working. He said. Leaving her alone with the wife. And the wife? She got meaner. "You're useless," she'd say. "Broken. Who's going to want you like this?" She'd make her stand for hours, even when her legs screamed in pain. "If you can't work, you can't stay." She'd take away meals if the house wasn't clean enough. "Maybe hunger will motivate you." And slowly, she started to believe it. That she was broken. Useless. Lucky to have a roof over her head. She stopped asking about her past. Stopped wondering who she used to be. Because maybe, she was no one. But here's what she didn't know. Mr. Ray knew exactly who she was. He'd known from the moment he saw her picture in the hospital. Because he used to work for her father. And he knew, if she ever remembered, his entire life would be over. Comment below, who else thinks Mr. Ray is hiding something big? She was 22 years old. 6 years had passed since the accident. 6 years of abuse. Of being treated like a servant. 6 years of believing she was nobody. And then, the wife came to her with a smile. That should have been the first warning. "I have good news," the wife said. "I found someone for you." She looked up from scrubbing the floor. "Someone?" "A husband. You can't live here forever. You need your own life." "A husband?" She'd never even thought about it. "He's a good man," the wife continued. "Hard-working. He has his own business. And he doesn't mind about your condition." Your condition. Like her disability was a disease. "I don't know." "You don't have a choice," the wife snapped, her mask slipping. "You think anyone else will want you? You're damaged goods. This is your only chance at a real life." Mr. Ray came home that night. He was gentler about it. "She's right, you know. Marcus is a good guy. I know him from work. He'll take care of you." Something felt wrong. But what choice did she have? She had no money. No job. No memory of any other life. "Okay," she whispered. "I'll meet him." The wife smiled. A cruel, victorious smile. Because Marcus wasn't a good man. He was exactly what they needed him to be. Comment below, type "run" if you're screaming at her to get away. She met Marcus on a Sunday afternoon. He was tall. Broad shoulders. Nice smile. At first glance, he seemed fine. They sat in the living room while Mr. Ray and his wife watched like hawks. "So," Marcus said. "They tell me you don't remember anything from before." "No. I was in an accident." "And your leg?" She tensed. "I need a brace sometimes. But I can work. I can." "Hey," he said, and his voice was soft. "I don't care about that. Everybody's got something, right?" She relaxed. A little. Maybe this wouldn't be so bad. They were married 3 months later. Quick. Simple. Just papers signed at City Hall. No wedding. No celebration. Just done. Marcus moved her into his apartment. Small. Dark. But it was away from the wife. That had to be better. Right? Wrong. The first week was fine. The second week, things changed. She made dinner. Burned the chicken a little. Marcus slammed his fork down. "What is this?" "I'm sorry, I work all day and this is what I come home to? Garbage." She flinched. "It won't happen again." "You're damn right it won't." And just like that, she traded one prison for another. But here's what she didn't know. Marcus was being paid. The wife had offered him money. A lot of it. To keep her. To control her. To make sure she never questioned her life. Because if she ever found out who she really was, everyone involved would go to jail. Comment below, how much would someone have to pay you to ruin someone's life? 3 years passed. 3 years of walking on eggshells. 3 years of insults. Slammed doors. Things thrown at her head. 3 years of being told she was worthless. Marcus worked in construction. Long hours. Hard labor. And he took out every frustration on her. "Why are you still limping? It's pathetic. You can't even clean a house right. What good are you?" "My buddies laughed when I told them I married a cripple. You know that." Every word was a cut. Every day was survival. She stopped sleeping well. Lost weight. Stopped looking in mirrors. Because when she did, she didn't recognize the woman staring back. Pause, rock bottom. But she never fought back. Never left. Because where would she go? She had no money. No friends. No family she could remember. This was her life now. And maybe she deserved it. Maybe she'd done something terrible in her past. Maybe this was punishment. Music shifts tiny spark of hope. But then one day, something happened that changed everything. She was at the grocery store, struggling to carry bags with her cane, and an old woman stopped her. "Excuse me, dear. You look just like—" "No, it can't be." She looked up. "Like who?" The old woman stared at her face. "Never mind. I'm sorry. You reminded me of someone." The woman walked away quickly. But something stirred in her chest. A feeling. Like a memory trying to surface. Comment below, have you ever had a moment where something felt familiar but you couldn't place it? That night, she couldn't sleep. The old woman's face kept flashing in her mind. "You look just like—" "Like who?" She got up quietly. Marcus was snoring in bed. She went to the closet where she kept her few belongings. A box. Small. With the things from the hospital. The clothes she'd been wearing. Torn and bloodied, but kept. A bracelet. Broken. And something she'd never really looked at closely. A piece of paper. Burned at the edges. She unfolded it carefully. It was a photograph. Half destroyed. But you could still make out. A girl. Young. Maybe 15 or 16. Standing next to two people. Adults. The photo was burned where their faces should be. But the girl. She looked exactly like her. Younger. Healthier. But the same. Her hands started shaking. On the back of the photo, in faded ink. "Our little princess. 16. 2013. Princess?" She turned the photo over again. Studied the girl's clothes. Expensive. Designer. The background. A mansion. Columns. Fountains. This girl was rich. Was this her? She pulled out her phone. Typed into Google, "Missing Girl 2013 Accident Billionaire." And the first result made her heart stop. A news article. Billionaire's daughter vanishes after fatal crash. Parents killed. Heiress missing. Presumed dead. And there was a photo. The same girl from the burned photograph. Name, Isabel Harrington. Age at disappearance, 16. Last seen, November 14, 2013. Heir to the Harrington fortune, $3.2 billion. Presumed dead after 7 years with no leads. She stared at the screen. At the face. Her face. And she whispered, "I'm not nobody. I'm Isabel Harrington. And I'm worth $3 billion. Comment below, drop gemstone if your jaw just dropped. She printed everything. Every article. Every photo. Every detail about the Harrington family. About the accident that killed her parents. About the massive fortune left behind. About the legal battle over her estate. Marcus came home from work. She was sitting at the kitchen table. Articles spread everywhere. He saw them. And his face went white. What are you doing?" She looked up at him. And for the first time in 6 years, she wasn't afraid. "My name is Isabel Harrington." "Now wait. My parents died in that accident. I survived. And you people, you found me. You kept me. You used me." Marcus's jaw clenched. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I know exactly what I'm talking about. How much did they pay you? To marry me? To keep me quiet?" "You can't prove anything." She held up her phone. "I called a lawyer today. A really good one. He's very interested in my case." Marcus stepped forward. Threatening. "You're not going anywhere. You're my wife. You have nothing without me." She stood up. Grabbed her cane. And she walked right past him. I have $3 billion without you. I think I'll be fine. She opened the door. And she walked out. For the first time in 9 years. She was free. Comment below, type finally, if you've been waiting for this moment. The lawyer's office was nothing like she expected. Tall building. Glass windows. Marble floors. This was the world she came from. And she barely remembered it. The lawyer, Mrs. Chen, reviewed her case. "This is extraordinary," she said. "Everyone thought you were dead. Your estate has been in probate for years. There are relatives fighting over your inheritance." Relatives. Distant cousins. People claiming they're entitled to the Harrington fortune. None of them cared about finding you. They just wanted your money. "But here's the problem," Mrs. Chen continued. "We'll need to prove you're really Isabel Harrington. DNA tests. Records. Witnesses. I have the photo. And medical records from the hospital. That's a start. But the people who took you? They'll fight this. Hard. They're looking at serious jail time. Fraud. Kidnapping. Embezzlement. They'll claim you're lying. That you're trying to scam the estate." She felt her hope cracking. "So what do I do?" Mrs. Chen smiled. "We go to war." The next 3 months were brutal. DNA tests confirmed it. She was Isabel Harrington. But Mr. Ray, his wife, and Marcus? They hired lawyers. Big ones. They claimed she'd never lost her memory. That she'd run away. That she was mentally ill. They dragged her through the mud. Called her a liar. A fraud. An opportunist. But she didn't break. Because every time she wanted to quit, she remembered something. A flash of memory. Just pieces. Her father's laugh. Her mother's perfume. A birthday cake with 17 candles that never got lit. She wasn't just fighting for money. She was fighting to remember who she was. Comment below, what would you do with $3 billion? The trial lasted 2 weeks. On the final day, Mrs. Chen called her last witness. The old woman from the grocery store. She took the stand. Nervous but determined. "State your name for the record." "Margaret Whitfield." "And how do you know the plaintiff?" "I was her nanny. From the time she was born until she was 12. The Harringtons they were my family." She looked at Isabel. Tears streaming down her face. "I knew it was you that day. I knew it. But I was so scared I was seeing things. That I wanted it to be true so badly that my mind was playing tricks." "Tell us about Isabel." Margaret smiled through her tears. She was sunshine. Always laughing. Always helping people. She wanted to change the world. And she would have. If she'd gotten the chance. "Do you believe this woman is Isabel Harrington?" "I don't believe. I know. That's my Isabel. I'd know her anywhere." The defense tried to break her. But Margaret wouldn't budge. Then Mrs. Chen dropped the final bomb. The judge slammed his gavel. "Order. Based on the DNA evidence, witness testimony, and financial records, I'm ruling in favor of the plaintiff. Isabel Harrington is hereby declared legally alive and the rightful heir to the Harrington estate. Furthermore, I'm ordering the immediate arrest of all defendants on charges of fraud, kidnapping, and embezzlement." She sat there. In shock. She'd won. After 9 years of hell. She'd won. Comment below, drop a balance scale for justice served. 2 months after the trial. She stood in front of a massive gate. The Harrington estate. Her home. The home she hadn't seen in 9 years. Margaret stood beside her. "Are you ready?" She took a deep breath. The gates opened. And there it was. A mansion. Sprawling. Beautiful. Gardens. Fountains. Stone columns. Exactly like in the photograph. She walked up the steps slowly. Her cane clicking on marble. Margaret opened the door. And the smell hit her first. Lavender. Her mother's favorite scent. She walked through rooms. Each one triggering something. The living room. She'd played piano there. Badly. The library. Her father read to her there every night. The kitchen. Her mother taught her to bake chocolate chip cookies. It was all coming back. Not everything, but pieces. Beautiful, precious pieces. She stopped at a wall of photographs. Her whole life. Before. Birthdays. Holidays. School plays. Family trips. A life she'd forgotten. A life that was stolen from her. Margaret touched her shoulder. "Welcome home, Isabel." She turned. Tears streaming. "I'm home." Comment below, type home, if this got you emotional. 6 months passed. She settled into her new life. Or rather, her old life. With a new perspective. She'd spent 9 years being treated like she was worthless because of her disability. 9 years being told she was broken. But she wasn't broken. She was different. And that was okay. She stood at a podium. Press conference. Cameras everywhere. "Thank you for coming," she said. Her voice steady. "Most of you know my story by now. I was missing for 9 years. Presumed dead. And during that time, I learned what it's like to be invisible. To be dismissed. To be treated as less than human, because of a disability." She paused. "So I'm announcing the formation of the Harrington Foundation. We'll be dedicating $1 billion to support people with disabilities. Housing. Job training. Legal aid. Medical care. Everything I wish I'd had when I had nothing. Because no one should be treated as worthless. No one should be trapped in abuse because they're vulnerable. And no one should be forgotten." The room erupted in applause. But she wasn't done. "I'm also offering a reward. $5 million. To anyone who can provide information about others in similar situations. People who are being exploited. Hidden. Abused. If you know someone who needs help, please come forward. I can't get back the 9 years that were stolen from me. But I can make sure no one else loses theirs." Comment below, what cause would you support with $1 billion? 1 year later. She walked into a support group meeting. For survivors of abuse. Of trafficking. Of exploitation. 20 women sat in a circle. "Hi," she said, sitting down. "My name is Isabel. And I'm a survivor." She told her story. All of it. The accident. The lost memory. The years of abuse. The discovery. The fight. The victory. And at the end, she said, "I'm telling you this because I want you to know, it's not over until you say it's over. You're not broken. You're not worthless. And you deserve better." After the meeting, a young woman approached her. Early 20s. Using a wheelchair. Scared eyes. I'm in the same situation. My family treats me like I'm nothing. Because of this." She gestured to her wheelchair. Isabel took her hand. "Tell me everything. And then, we're going to get you out." The girl started crying. "Why would you help me? You don't even know me." "Because someone should have helped me. And they didn't. So I'm making sure I help everyone I can." She looked around the room. At all these women. Broken but rebuilding. Hurt but healing. And she realized something. She'd spent 9 years being told she was nobody. But she wasn't nobody. She was Isabel Harrington. And she was using her voice, and her fortune, to make sure no one else was ever silenced again. Because here's the truth. They tried to erase her. They tried to make her forget who she was. They tried to convince her she was worthless. But they failed. Because she remembered. And now? She was unstoppable. This is Isabel's story. But maybe you know someone living a version of it right now. Someone being told they're worthless. Someone being exploited because they're vulnerable. Someone who needs to hear, you matter. You're valuable. You deserve better. Final comment, drop "you matter" if someone you know needs to hear this. Because the truth is, your past doesn't define you. Your disability doesn't define you. What defines you is what you do when you finally find your power. And Isabel? She found hers. Now, what will you do with yours?